You ever sit down at a desk, only to realize that the cheap office chair you grabbed on a flash sale is more of a disappointment than a solution? I've been there spending a few bucks on a low-cost mesh seat, thinking I'm saving money. Then 2 weeks later the backrest gives out, the armrests feel rigid, and I'm left with an ache that makes me regret the bargain. That's the kind of buyer's remorse I want to avoid. So today I'm taking a closer look at the SGeneE Ergonomic rolling desk chair to see if it actually feels like a smarter buy. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the whole point of a chair like this is to be the middle ground between a budget just sit-down seat and a high-end executive throne. The SGeneE comes with a 4D adjustable armrest and a 3D lumbar support mesh back, which, on paper, promise that you can dial in the perfect angle for your shoulders, elbows, and lower back. The real question is whether those adjustments translate into noticeable comfort during a typical workday or a marathon gaming session. I set this chair up in my home office, which is a modest 99-foot room with a standing desk that I occasionally lower for seated work. The first thing that stood out was the mesh back. Unlike the solid foam backs you see on many low-priced chairs, the mesh allows airflow, which means you're not stuck sweating through a sticky cushion when you're on a call for 3 hours straight. In practice, the ventilation is subtle but effective. My back stayed cool enough that I didn't have to keep adjusting the position of my shirt throughout the day. The 4D armrests are another area where the chair tries to earn its ergonomic badge. 4D means you can move the arms forward and backward, up and down, side to side, and also rotate them. I spent a few minutes tweaking each axis to line the armrests with my keyboard height and monitor distance. The result? My shoulders stayed relaxed, and I didn't feel the usual tension that creeps in when your elbows are forced up or down. For anyone who spends long stretches typing or using a mouse, that level of adjustability can actually reduce shoulder fatigue. It's not a feature you notice in a cheap chair that only has a fixed arm height. Now let's talk lumbar support. The 3D label here refers to a flexible, contoured pad that you can pull forward or push back to match the curvature of your lower spine. When I first sat, the pad felt a little firm, but after a few minutes it softened just enough to cradle my lumbar region without feeling like a hard block. For people who have a habit of slouching or who have mild lower back pain, having that ability to fine-tune the support is a genuine plus. It's not a full-blown motorized system, but it does give you a level of personalization that most budget chairs lack. On the flip side, there are a couple of practical trade-offs you should be aware of before you click Add to Cart. First, the seat cushion is made from a standard foam that, while decent for a few hours, can start to feel a bit flat after an 8-hour stretch. If you're a professional who spends 1,012 hours at the desk, you might notice the loss of bounce sooner than you'd like. Second, the chair's overall footprint is a bit larger than some compact office chairs. The base is about 20 inches wide, which means it can be a tight fit in cramped cubicles or tiny home office nooks. If floor space is at a premium, you might need to measure your workstation before committing. Who should buy this chair? If you're a remote worker, a college student pulling late-night study sessions, or a casual gamer who wants more adjustability than a basic plastic seat, the SGeneE offers a solid set of features for a price point that sits comfortably between the bargain bin and the premium market. The adjustable armrest and lumbar pad give you enough flexibility to fine-tune posture without having to invest in a high-end ergonomic system that can cost double or triple the price. Who should skip it? If you have a very limited budget and are okay with a good enough seat that you plan to replace in a year or two, you might still find a cheaper option that meets your short-term needs. Likewise, if you have a larger body frame or need a chair with a higher weight capacity, the SGeneE's standard foam cushion and typical office chair weight rating could feel restrictive. In those cases, looking at chairs built with higher density foam or reinforced frames would be a smarter move. One practical strength that often gets lost in the spec sheet is how the chair behaves when you swivel or roll across the floor. The caster wheels are smooth on hardwood and low-pile carpet, and they don't make that squeaky noise you hear with cheap plastic wheels. I was able to glide between my desk and a bookshelf without having to push hard, which reduces strain on the knees and,